Hey guys, this is the part 2 of essay comprehension. So yesterday we saw about bookends of time. We saw some few paragraphs and comprehended what the paragraphs are saying. Now let's go to the next paragraph. So yesterday we left in this paragraph. So let's start the next paragraph. We are only just coming to terms with this, the supremacy of finitude. It marks a historic reorganization of our self of orientation that may one day be judged comparable to that of the Copernican revolution. Just under 500 years ago, Nicolaus Copernicus initiated a string of discoveries, eventually proving our planet is not the center of a tidy, manageable cosmos. Instead, Earth pirouettes around a mediocre star with an ungraspably vast universe. It took generations for people to start noticing and giving names to what Copernicus had wrought. Similarly, we are now waking we are now we are only now waking up to the significance of the nested mortalities we live within. With the most seismic revolutions, it takes time for the dust to settle before we can glimpse the landscape transform. So basically, what this paragraph it is saying is, uh, finally we have come to the understanding that the universe and the humankind is mortal. That is one day it is going to be destroyed. Marx's historic reorganization of self that may one day be judged comparable to that. So what this next sentence says is that it is a historic reorganization. We are but now we are going to we can compare our understanding to that of the Copernican revolution. Just under 500 years ago, Nicolaus Copernicus initiated a string of discoveries, eventually proving. So what this man Nicolaus Copernicus said is that he discovered some he discovered that our planet, that is Earth, is not the center of the cosmos. So before, what they thought was that the Earth was the center of everything, and every other cosmic planets, everything revolved around Earth. But after this man found some discoveries, it was proved that our planet is not the center of the cosmos. So instead, what he said is that Earth pirouettes around a mediocre star with an ungraspably vast universe. So Earth itself is orbiting around the sun. That is what he is saying here. So it took generations. It took many generations for people to start noticing that like these are that Earth is not the center of the universe. The Earth itself is orbiting around Sun. It took many generations for people to start noticing these things. So similarly, we are only now waking up to the significance of the nested mortalities we live with. So just now we are knowing the significance of the nested mortalities we live. We know that everything is sin. Everything has a definite lifetime. The most seismic revolutions, it takes time for the dust to settle before we can glimpse the landscape forward. So even with these revolutions that we have seen, first it was uh, first Nicholas Copernicus. He told that Earth is not the center of the cosmos. Instead, Sun is the not Sun, some other entity, center of the universe. So for this realization itself, it took many generations. So think about how people are going to accept that we are going to die one day or the universe is going to be destroyed one day. It will take so much time for the humans to comprehend the fact that it is going to our human, the universe, everything it is going to be destroyed one day. So let's go to next paragraph. However, whereas Copernicus made us feel insignificant in space, placing bookends on time stands set to reverse this by insinuating that our acts might just be more cosmically resonant than we previously dared presume. One revolution undone by another. So in this, what is saying that so this placing bookends of time on time refers to the idea that this refers to the idea that now we understand the finite nature of time. That is in terms of our broader life and in broader context of the universe. So what is trying to say that uh, as we know the time and the time that we are going to live is finite, we must do some acts that will be cosmically efficient. Like we must do some acts uh, uh, like implementing some methods so that we can save our planet. As we know, we are having only some finite time. So let's go to the next paragraph. Why? I argue that abandoning eternity is ultimately galvanizing, for it implies that what we do in our moment on Earth genuinely matters beyond our own fleeting lives. Only by finding time's cosmic bookends has modern science thrown into crisp relief the truth that what happens next might resonate indelibly. Because if time has extremities, then history will never repeat, and if what's happening here and now will never reoccur, certain decisions can never be taken back or reversed. So what this passage is trying to tell is that as we know that our moment on earth is genuinely somewhat finite, so what we are going to do in the present moment, it would directly affect the future. That is what he is trying to say. Because if time has extremities, that is, if time is finite, then history will never repeat. Like before, we spoke about the eternity. In eternity, what we spoke that even if we die, we might be reborn in the next life and again live continuously. But what here it is said is that if time has extremities, then history will never repeat. Once one event took place, that will not happen again. It will not happen again. That is what it is said here. Let's go to next paragraph. Historically speaking, when people have encountered something who suggests they cannot directly see, they have tended ahead of contrary evidence to assume it simply lacks limits. Staggered by size into stupor, it tend to conflict extremely large things with limitless things. It proved no different with time, beyond perceptible scales. For much of human history, what terra incognita was for geography, eternity was for chronology. It was the amorphous unknown lurking behind what was concretely measured. So in this, what it is said is that when people encounter something that they cannot observe completely, they don't know how to measure or observe some things. What they tend to do is they assume that it lacks limits. That is, they assume that it is infinite. Example, like when early explorers looked out in the vast ocean, they might have assumed it stretched on forever. So when early explorers they looked out on vast ocean, they might have assumed that it goes on forever because they couldn't see its end. So what they assumed was it did not have any limits. It was infinite. That's what they assumed. So that is what mainly they are saying here. True. So here notice this eternity was for chronology. So They consider that eternity was chronology. That means it is infinite. So let's go to the next paragraph. While the Abrahamic religions may have appeared to place boundaries on time millennia ago, with the teachings of Genesis and Apocalypse, eternity nonetheless saturates these creeds. So what the Abrahamic religion says that they may they may they may appear they have said that uh, time is bounded. That is there are boundaries for time. Millennia ago they have told this. That is the teaching of Genesis and Apocalypse. Genesis means the birth. Apocalypse. Genesis means the birth of the world. Apocalypse means it is the end of the world. Eternity nonetheless saturates these creeds. Worldly time was considered of as but a brief hiatus environed by two eternities, a vanishing biblical veil of tears, cleft between the boundless present of an uncreated divinity, and afterward the unending afterlife promised for the souls he created. So, the time, the worldly time, that is the time that we are living in Earth, is considered as like more of a pause between two eternities. That is a vanishing biblical veil of tears, cleft between the boundless crescent of uncreated divinity. So this biblical veil of tears means the life we are living in human world, that is human world, it is very sorrowful, painful and sorrowful. This life is bounded between two eternities. One is the boundless presence of an uncreated divinity. So it is said that it was the that God was created irrespective of time, and afterward the unending afterlife promised for the souls created. So before time was even created, God was present. That is what they're saying, uncreated divinity. And afterward, the unending afterlife promised for the souls created. So after we die, it is said that we go to an afterlife, promised for the souls created. So it is either heaven or hell. So let's go to the next paragraph. Perhaps one reason why the idea of eternity has persisted for so long is that it offers consolation. In infinite time, all possibilities inevitably cycle without limit, such that unprecedented change and irrecuperable loss evaporate. The only trajectory is an orbit. Everything gained is eventually lost. Everything lost eventually regained. So in this, what it says is that the reason why idea of eternity has persisted for so long is that it offers some kind of a consolation to humans. So eternity means infinitum. So in infinitum, many possibilities could happen without any limit. So even some unique things that is going to happen in the period of time, it will be repeated again because time is infinite. That is what they say. The only trajectory is an orbit. So you know an orbit, right? Orbit means any planet. You would have seen these words that Earth orbits around the sun. That is, it goes one circle and then again starts from the same point of this circle. So everything, it is like a metaphor they have used here. Everything gained is eventually lost. Whatever you have gained would be lost anyway, and anything lost would be eventually regained. That is, the next life it could be regained. That is what they say. However, it's also the case that the evidence required to banish eternity has accumulated only gradually, because knowledge is tethered to observation. We only know so far as we are or our tools can see. Thus, before humans invented clever ways to survey scales greater than the immediate, it was impossible to disqualify hunches that beyond the purview of what's humanly tangible, time lacks proportion, and eternity reigns. So only now evidence is present to, to banish eternity accumulated gradually. So only now the evidence has emerged so that we can eradicate the concept of eternity gradually, because knowledge is tethered to observation, because knowledge is tied to observation. So whatever you are observing, that finally becomes the knowledge. But before humans invented clever ways to survey scales greater than the immediate. So before humans invented like telescopes or clocks, so that they could understand what this eternity is, like what eternity or what is time, or what is mortality is. Before they invented these methods, it was impossible to not take the concept of eternity, because before that they had some kind of consolation, because they knew that there was infinite time. So whatever decisions they have taken, they may repeat the same decisions again after in another life. So in that case, time lacks proportion and eternity reigns. So this paragraph is mainly saying historically, and eternity reigns. So those times they always believed in eternity. People speak of the god of the gaps, alluding to how the supernatural slowly recedes as we learn more about the cosmos around us. Something similar has happened with eternal time. As we have probed and pried further, we have revealed beginnings and possible ends for Earth, life, and the universe, replacing eternity with finite timescales at increasingly encompassing scales. Yet with each advance, eternity has merely ceded ground, retreating into the darkness outside the flame lit by our knowledge. So in this, what they are saying is, so before they had a supernatural concept that believes in eternity. But once the people learned about how the world is finite, the humans are finite, this concept slowly started to disappear as we learn more about the cosmos around us, that is the universe, the human life, etc. So the similar happened for eternal time. So as we learned about what about the eternal times, the mortalities, we proved and pried further. That is, we reveal that there are some extremities. That is, there is starting time for everything, and the end time is also there for everything. That is Earth, life, and the universe. So slowly they started to replace the idea of eternity with finite time scales. But yet, with each advance, even the eternity concept is slowly disappearing. Somewhat the people find eternity as their, somewhat they believe in the concept of eternity. That is what they're trying to say. So even in the present day, it's often forgotten that the unthinkably vast durations revealed by modern science, described by the term deep time, are distinct from eternities, because imagination fails to circumscribe such eons. It's easy to assume they lack circumference entirely. So even in the present day, it is always forgotten that unthinkably vast durations revealed by modern. So even now, what they're doing is they're always linking eternity to deep time. They always forget. They always forget that these two are distinct. because imagination fails to circumscribe such aeons. Cease to assume that lacks circumference entirely. Okay, okay, thank you. If you do like the video, please subscribe and share it with your friends. So stay tuned for further reading of the passages. Thank you.